witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another Cryptids episode. I am going to Denmark for mine.
Okay.
If you ever need to figure out something to research or a cryptid that you're not that you're interested in, but like you just want better or like new options, I guess. So I asked somebody, I was like, pick a country that you probably wouldn't think about, like just any country. I was like, not the stereotypical like Great Britain, American, like Canada, all of those. But so I got Denmark, and it's very similar to Norse stuff. I
Okay.
mean, it's the Viking locations, um, the Nordic areas. So there's going to be a lot of like kind of overlap with like the Norse culture, or religion and folklore and mythology. So this cryptid, I guess, is actually from like the very, very deep forests of Denmark. Um, it's kind of like the area that it's like the most peaceful part of the forest, very deep and in the middle of it, like you can't hear any outside noises. That's kind of where you're going to find these guys. They are considered the Elverfolk. So they are an elusive elven folk of Danish legend. Um, so the Everfolk or elves are woven into the Denmark's like essentially the tapestry of folklore because it's so interconnected. Um, but not like the elves from J.R.R. Tolkien, like not from those kinds of elves, and we're not talking about like the tiny little like gremlins. Like we're not talking about those people. Uh these are older. These are like wilder, older beings, and they are rooted in Norse mythology and like that rural superstition. So they're said to dwell in misty meadows, ancient burial mounds, and deep forests. They are slender and fair, and they appear at twilight, just when the light begins to play tricks on your eyes, usually. And if you see them dancing in a ring not around, not by, in a ring of mushrooms, don't step inside it. Um, that is considered a fairy ring, and if you cross that threshold, you are essentially going to lose your way, and more than likely your mind. So don't do it. But they actually had like ancestors related to Norse, so they are related to like the light elves, and they appear in the Prose Edda as radiant beings from Alfheim. I don't know if this is pronounced correctly, but I think it's like Losulfar, maybe. I don't know if it's in Danish writing or if it's like Norwegian. So I don't know which way to pronounce that. But anyways, they appear in Prose Edda as beings from Alfheim, who, if you remember from our Norse mythology sector, Freyr ruled Alfheim. So over time, these divine figures had transformed into something, more local and what people from the area believe more haunting. The Elverfolk became watchers of the woods and, the guardians of the in-between. And they aren't just abstract stories, they actually are rooted in some real fears and whispered encounters. So here's some of, just those little encounters that have been passed down through Danish folklore. One is called the Mist Dancer encounter. It is a traveler saw a figure dancing in a mushroom ring. they became entranced by the figures in this ring. And so he steps inside, and he had vanished for days. When he had returned, he had aged and speak like he had visions, and um these visions were of ancient truths and forgotten lives. So it was as if he had lived a whole other lifetime or two when he had come back after a few days missing, because he had walked into this mushroom ring. The Elver pig seduction. I think that's pig. um, Maybe piggy, pig eye, pig a. I don't know. Anyways, a young man heard music near a burial mound, and when he went over there, he met a stunning elf maiden. After dancing with her, he suddenly fell ill, stricken by what they considered as the elf sickness. It is essentially a wasting affliction blamed on their magic. So I don't know if it's because he touched her, if she did it to him, or what it was, but he fell ill by something called the elf sickness. Another one is called the Forest Watchers. So hunters in Jutland report fleeing glimpses of glowing figures in the sacred groves. Some say they were blessed with good fortune, while others weren't so lucky. So um, it's kind of unfortunate for those hunters, specifically the ones that weren't so lucky, because depending on time of the world, that could be kind of detrimental for you and the entire family. But these tales aren't used for entertainment per se. They're actually used as warnings. They can also be used as invitations, and very often they are traps. So a lot of people ask for like the symbolism or the meaning of seeing these things. Like, I'm in a few groups that are constantly asking, like, I saw this. What does that mean? What is the I guess the witchy like reason behind whatever happened? Um so the Elver folklore actually have some type of symbolism and meaning. So most people believe that those I guess folklore stories are considered some people believe folklores are true. I'll go that way. Some people believe that folklores are true, mainly because they have they're rooted in somehow. Like it's half the time it's like a legitimate story that happened that had just a little bit of flair to it, and that's kind of how legends happen and stories get passed down, and that's how mythology and all of this starts. But they believe that the Elverfolk reflect some of the deepest fears and desires of like folklore storytelling. It's like a mirror, basically. So um some of the meanings are like the nature's duality. The Elverfolk embody that wild beauty of that nature, the seductive, the healing. But with that, it's also dangerous. They remind us that not everything in the forest wants to be found. So if you're out there searching for something, you might find something that you didn't want to find. Like a man while you're hiking on a road.
Yikes.
I choose the bear. The unknown and the unconscious. Their illusions in time loss echo our fear of losing control, of slipping into altered states. They're metaphors for dreams, madness, and the spiritual awakening. Moral testing. In many tales, kindness is rewarded, arrogance is often punished. So the Overfolk act as moral arbiters. They test how we treat the unknown and how I guess you react to the actual unknown being with you. So it basically requests if you're going to be a good person or not. They also symbolize time and immortality. So the Elverfolk are timeless, ageless, and elusive um, beings. Their presence evokes nostalgia and the weight of history. So what's lost and what still lingers and what needs to be found, sort of thing. They also represent magic and transformation. So these encounters often leave people changed, whether through illness, visions, or madness. The Elverfolk often represent transformation, the rites of passage into something deeper. So for those in the Buddha society, when you transcend essentially and you become um what's that? It's not transcendence, but it's like you go to another plane of like
Like
understanding.
Nirvana?
Yeah, when you get to like nirvana type of thing. Um so it these represent you getting into something deeper, good or bad, in your like sight. Um but even today, the echoes of the Overfolk and their legends, I should say, still linger. So in rural Denmark, some still avoid building on ancient mounds or disturbing any sacred groves. They have midsummer festivals, which include songs and dances that are a nod to the old beliefs, and these offerings are left for unseen watchers. They're also part of a broader Scandinavian tradition of hidden people. These are beings who live parallel to us, just out of sight. Not necessarily evil, not safe, but just there. And it that kind of makes me think of like I'm kind of wondering if that is very similar to have you ever seen the movie You?
The movie You?
Yeah. Or
No.
is it You? It's not You.
There's a TV show called You that I have seen.
Yeah, no. Nupita. I'm gonna butcher her last name, so I really don't want to do
Nyong'o?
that. Yeah, that one. What's her name?
Lupita Nyong'o?
Yeah, Dion. Here we go. Movies. Am I just stupid? Is that not us? Sorry. Wrong
Okay, so
pronoun.
it's still a pronoun.
It's just the wrong one. Us. It's called Us. And it's basically a, about like a hidden society of people live just below the surface or in the shadows, and they are your exact copy of yourself.
Oh, okay. I feel like I've heard of this.
Yeah, so like if Will and I had, you know, other version of us, we would still both be together in that other world, but we would be two different types of like people.
Right.
It's considered a horror movie, but it's more like psychological. Yeah, there's like some horror like pop-up things, but it's not like paranormal. It's psychologically kind of like what the fuck is happening. So, if you haven't watched it, watch it. Um but anyways, so maybe and some people believe that's the point. So that like the overfolk aren't there to comfort us or promise us of better days ahead or anything like that. They're there to remind us that the world is old. It is strange. There are a lot more older and stranger things and possibly more alive than we know today, whether or not you want to believe in the supernatural. But that could be some type of symbolism that people use overfolk for. Um, so maybe next time when you're walking in the forest and you feel like you're being watched, could be a little elf trying to
Ooh.
lure you for whatever reason. So
Okay.
now you know why. But Yeah, so that's all about the Elverfolk of Denmark.
Okay.
Tap that one, Brandy.
All right. Well, okay. So I am taking us away from the forests of Denmark to the volcanoes of Chile.
Ugh, come on.
And we're going to talk about the Cherufe.
Ooh. How do you pronounce
Um,
that?
Cherufe.
Cherufa. Okay. It sounded like you said Cherupa, and I was like, why does that sound like a dog?
Chalupa. The
Sure.
Cherufe.
Cherufa. Cherufa. Got it. Okay.
um, it is okay. So there are different interpretations. The artistic world has taken this creature and it's put it into books and movies. And in that version, it is like a humanoid reptilian creature
Ew.
that lives in volcanic environments. The origination of this creature was in the
Yeah.
Mapuche legend. Um, the Cherufe is not a dragon. It's not reptile or reptilian and or anything like that. Um, it is described as a large humanoid creature with bodies composed of basaltic rock and magma. So it's like a lava monster. Not only is it made of that kind of materials, but that's where it lives. The Cherufe inhabit the magma pools in the Chilean volcanoes, and um, they're said to be the source of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Um, as I was doing this research, I was reminded forcefully of the movie The Road to El Dorado. Not the same country, not the same culture, but they also have sacrifices to their.
I love that movie. I want to watch it
Yeah,
so bad.
I love that movie too. Um, yeah, so they're the source of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The Cherufe is also said to be the source of like magician stones. The like meteorites, volcanic stones that get when the volcano erupts and the stones fly through the air. Those are supposed to be like magician stones. Local folklore says that if you find one of these stones, you should keep it as they make potent magical charms and protections. The tribes in the past would take those stones and make bolas out of them, and supposedly those bolas never missed. Um, and so, like, you're thinking about this monster. It's a lava monster. It lives in the volcanoes. It's causing earthquakes. It's causing meteors to fall. It's causing volcanic eruptions. It's causing lots of destruction. And the only way to make it not do that is to satiate its taste for human flesh by throwing in a sacrificial victim into the volcano.
I love that.
Yeah. And,
I mean,
you
wouldn't you
know,
do that?
I mean, right. Like, what else would you do? Much like the dragons of European folklore, the Cherufe prefers virgin maidens.
You got me fucked
So,
up. What happens if they
basically,
get
a
somebody that's not a
patriarchal
virgin mater?
society was like, let's throw the women to it so we don't have to throw the men to it. Whatever.
You honestly, like, maybe this is just like men that I've like see and hear about in today's time, but to be honest, I feel like they wouldn't pick the women and children, or not the women and children. I feel like they would sit there and be like, "Are you a virgin? Cool, you get to stay. You're not a
Right.
virgin.
And then
Get
they
the
would
fuck in the
throw
pot."
away the like
Yeah,
whores, for lack of a
yeah.
better term. Yeah. hot mess express. But to make matters even worse for the families of these poor sacrificial victims, once the Cherufe is finished consuming, and this is a direct quote from the source, the more delicate portions of its victims. I think by that it means organs, like internal organs. But I need you to know that my mind lives in the fucking gutter. And I was like, ew. I just, yeah, anyway. It thinks that it's really funny to then shoot the head, like the decapitated head of the victim, and shoot them out of the mouth of the volcano back to the village where they were taken from. So that's a fun thing, fun little game that Cherufe likes to play. Eventually, in the Mapuche legend, the sun god is like, this has got to stop. Like, we've got to do something about this. And he arms his two daughters with swords of ice and sends them to stop the Cherufe's rampages. I feel like swords of ice is a little wild. I mean, I guess they're magic swords of ice, but like against a lava monster, that feels like not the best option. But it works. Once they stab him with the weapons, the Cherufe begins to cool and harden, and the volcano he lived in became dormant. However, this is like his prison now, and he will shake and like throw a fit in his prison, and sometimes this will cause minor eruptions.
Same.
Right. So the mythological origins of this creature probably came about to explain the geological events such as volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, meteorites, things that the people couldn't understand or didn't have an explanation for. They created one.
Mm-hmm.
There are also some cryptozoological investigators, however, that say, well, yes, that might be where this legend started. The Cherufe might also be based very loosely on sightings of an actual biological entity that is capable of not only surviving but like flourishing in the incredible heat of molten lava. This allegation is made based on the fact of the animals that thrive in like the hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor.
Oh.
I don't know. Are there creatures that live in the lava? Maybe. How would we know? How would we know? We can't like go in there and check. But it feels like fake news, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's the Cherufe. When he gets mad, you just gotta throw him a human to chill him out for a little bit. But then he's gonna be a dick and shoot her head back at you. You know, it's fine. It's fine.
I think it's so funny because as a gamer, you go through like, you know, games that have this exact scenario in it. But it reminds me so much of Link to the Past. Not Link to the Past, sorry. The Ocarina of Time. Because for like Legend of Zelda, because I'm telling you what, there is a lava monster called Dongo Dongo. And you have to throw a bomb into its mouth, obviously to blow it up, but like it like calms it down for like a split second instead of like charging at you.
Okay.
And I was like, man, this sounds familiar. It's because it's happened. It's happened before. But well,
okay, and that's the Cherufe. That's all I got.
Careful with going near I guess, you know,
Chilean volcanoes.
yeah, that's pretty specific. If you like walking up summits, better skip that one.
You know,
But
just just be careful.
You never know. You might have a good time. I mean, you might have a head or two choked back at you, but I mean, what a story to tell social media and TikTok. Let's make it a what is that place? Or not that place, but a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
There you go. Build your revenue. Got you. Anyways. All right. Until next time.
Bye.